Welcome to the Survive and Thrive Summit for Moms, where we are setting up moms to get started earning money from home and building their business. We have the beautiful Miss ELAYNA Fernandez. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. I am so happy to be here and honored to share this space with you.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And, you have so many titles: speaker, author, storyteller, story strategist, student of pain.
Yes.
So many titles.
Yeah, that's
A
my
little, a
favorite.
little, a little person. she's short.
Yep.
a little, a little bundle full of all kinds of different. I mean, you have so many talents.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, Miss ELAYNA Fernandez is going to share with us today how to write your bestseller. And let me tell you a little bit about her. She is known worldwide for her best-selling books, life-transforming programs, and award-winning blog, thepositivemom.com. ELAYNA's mission is to help moms break painful cycles, create profitable home-based businesses, and live a life they love on their own terms. Certified as a life coach, success teacher, and marketing master trainer, and an online presence strategist and WordPress creator for over 15 years, ELAYNA provides the training, support, and inspiration necessary to become digital entrepreneurs, best-selling authors, and positive moms. ELAYNA has been named one of the top Latina influencers in the USA and is partnered with over 300 brands. It's amazing, including Disney and all of its affiliates, featured in global media and spoken on prestigious stages all over the world. Born and raised in a slum in the Dominican Republic, many times a survivor, twice a single mom, she homeschools her 4 daughters in Fort Worth, Texas. Her philosophy is be positive and you'll be powerful.
Thank you so
Wow.
much. Thank you.
Wow. Well, welcome. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got here to where you are today.
Thank you so much for asking that because, I always say that the once upon a time is very important. I love Disney and fairy tales. And that's one thing that I can appreciate is that we always see all these titles and all of these achievements and all of the things that make up a person or an expert, someone that we follow, but we sometimes forget that they came from trauma, from pain, from tragedy, that they overcame many obstacles, that they also had hardships. So for me, it has been a long journey of that ever since I can remember. And I have memories since I was 3 months old, in which I have been learning from my pain, and it's very humbling to see that my daughters have had a different life than I've had. And we'll get into it as I go through the presentation. But what I want everyone to get out of this is that if I can do it, anyone can, and that it is possible. So that's gonna be our mantra for today. It's possible.
Awesome. So good. And your story is so powerful. So I'm just going to let you take it away because you have such a good message.
Oh, thank you so much. And I love your message. So don't get me started on that. I'm gonna share
Thank
my screen. Let's see
Okay.
if I can do that.
Our very own Disney princess.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, hey, look. We did not plan that. I
No,
promise.
we didn't. This is my presentation. So the reason I am so passionate about this, about writing a bestseller, is because it allows you as a digital entrepreneur, as a home-based business, as a mompreneur, to gain authority. I always say, in the word author, there's in the word authority, you can't spell it without the word author. So when you position yourself, you have access to so much more profit, to so much more impact. to so much more influence, that you can make a difference really in your family, in yourself, but also around the world. So I'm very passionate about that. And I think you've been to some of my events before and presentations. I always start out with saying hola.
Just
And
one, just the one, Roberto's event.
oh yeah, oh my gosh. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll hang out more.
yeah.
But I always like to say an acknowledgement to you for being here, because as an audience, you are thinkers, you are dreamers, you are founders, you are doers, you are people who are creative and want to generate goodness in the world. And so I want to acknowledge that. I saw this at an airport, because I travel a lot as a speaker when there's not a travel ban. and and so I want to acknowledge that, because I think it was Brian Tracy, one of my mentors, that said 80% is showing up, and you're here. So thank you so much for being present. I have kind of an outline of what we're going to talk about. And basically, this is going to help you get started. You are going to understand that it's not about getting it perfect, it's about getting it done. So we have I want to say that I didn't make any of this up. I have been trained by the very best, and I'm very grateful. This is my mentor, Jack Canfield, who is the best-selling author of The Success Principles, and he's also the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, who is, that is the book that made the Guinness World, Book of World Records, which is incredible, and I'm so excited to be part of his team. I'm also a life mastery coach and a certified passion test facilitator. You are familiar with that process.
I'm
um,
not actually.
oh my gosh, we went through it when I went had the VIP day in your home.
Oh,
You just didn't know
okay.
it was called that.
I am.
I
I
guess
just
you didn't
didn't
know.
know it.
Yeah, you didn't know the name of it. I also had the privilege to be trained by J. Conrad Levinson. Here you can see I am pregnant with my third baby on that picture. And he's gone now, but I miss him, but he's always in my heart. He was the founder of the Guerrilla Marketing, and I'm also a graduate of the institute, the Success Institute, which is Steve Harvey's School of Transformation and Personal Business Acceleration. So
Wow.
all of this stuff comes from the best of the best. And I want you to be present. I want you to have an open mind. I want you to do what you got to do, but be present. And I have my phone next to me, but I'm not going to pay attention to it. So so
And if
let's.
you wouldn't mind, can you just give a little snippet on what you've done with Disney? Because I think that is really incredible as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to talk about that, why I work
Okay.
with Disney. But Disney, I've been collaborating with Disney for the past 13, 14 years, which is crazy when I think about that. I didn't
Wow.
realize that, yeah. And as of now, I've actually had contracts with every uh, aspect, every tier of the Walt Disney Company, as an influencer, as a consultant, and as a, just Disney lover.
Wow.
Although we call ourselves Disney creators, but that's just an inside thing. But I've been able to really get in the culture of Disney, which was crazy because growing up, Chelsea, I thought that that was the holy grail. If you could ever go to Disney World, that was, you know, you were rich, millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. So it's a dream come true to be able to join my dreaming and storytelling and vision with the values of the Walt Disney Company. So yeah, we'll get a little bit into that later on.
Wow. Yes.
Before we get started, we're going to talk about what to do before you write, because everything that you're going to write is right here. It's in your mind, in your experience, in your heart. But uh, this is also uh, where we find the objections, what keeps you stuck, and what doesn't let you move forward. So we have two competing aspects of ourselves: one that is terrified or that is holding back, and one that wants to go all in, that has these beautiful dreams. And so we're gonna make a contract. Is that okay with you, Chelsea?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So on the screen we're gonna read this, and I'm gonna have you read it, so that we're gonna say that this is how we're gonna start this beautiful journey of writing a book, and I'll let you introduce it.
Okay. Ditch the resolutions. To resolve means to find a solution to a problem. You are not a problem. The way you showed up for your life the past year was necessary for your growth. Now is a time to reflect, to learn, to create an intention, a positive call to shift, a spark of magic and manifestation rooted in self-love and backed with action.
Yes, yes.
Powerful.
So, up until now, those are my favorite words in the entire world. Because
Yeah.
we've always said, like, oh, I procrastinate, I hold myself back, I don't believe in myself. We just say all of these things and cancel because that's not true. But but we just have this image of ourselves, and we are just so hard on ourselves and beat ourselves up so much. And so we're gonna start from scratch, and this is not a resolution, this is not a solution, this is an intention. And so we're going to start from scratch. Why you haven't written a book until now doesn't matter. Let's start fresh. So we're gonna give you a little bit of a framework here, background, that 57% of all people in the United States are authors in the United States are women. Is that rocking news or what?
That's great.
But 80% of Americans say that they want to write a book, and only 5% ever start. And 5 out of the 5 that start the book actually finish it. So
Wow.
yeah, we have all these people, that all these women, all these moms that want to write a book, but it's just hard. And that's what we've been told. um, is it true? We're going to say no, it's not true. It's really easy to write a book. I know that you wrote a book in record time, and there are so many resources. We are, in the best time of our lives. Back when, I was growing up in the Dominican Republic, but around the world, we didn't have the resources that we have today. So we're going to get to the root of what actually is going to set us up to finish that book. So how do we join the 5%? Well, there's this thing called Ian, and it's a formula to make things happen. So it's the manifestation formula. Starts with intention, continues with attention, and ends with no tension. That means that we're going to set the intention today, that we're going to write the book. We're going to take the steps outlined in this presentation, and we're going to just let God, the universe, the higher power do its work, because we're going to attract to us, if we just keep on the intention and attention mode, we're going to attract to us the resources, the connections, and the genius that we need to continue, and to see it done, because that's what we want. We want it done. Okay, so we talked about my story, and this is me right here. That is around the place where I lived and I grew up in the Dominican Republic. I lived in a slum, and every day of my life I wondered, is this it? Is this my life? It was filled with poverty, it was filled with abuse, it was filled with just questioning why am I here? And does God love me? Is there a reason why I'm alive? Do I have a purpose? And by the time I was 13, I was hospitalized after trying to end my life, because I just wasn't happy. I just didn't know what I was doing here. One of when I was 7, which is when this picture was taken, I went with my brother, this one over here, to the back of our home, which was a shack with tin roof and no, just dirt floors and without latrine, because we didn't really even know what a toilet was. We had to
Wow.
Yeah, we had to fetch water. We had to just kind of do everything around in our home for each other. And we were very blessed because we were about the only family that could go to school. My mom and my dad worked really hard so that we could get education, so that's a high value for me. And basically I just wanted a way out. And it's like I knew that there was something more, but I just lost hope so many times. It was a roller coaster of emotions. So I went to the dumpster, to the landfill, which was literally behind our shack. And that's where we found our toys. That's where we found books. And sometimes I must admit that we found foods too. That's the first time that I had like cereal, is because we found a stale box. And it was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I joke around with my girls because my first salary, when I was like making the big bucks, I actually bought pancakes because I always saw the pancakes, and I thought, oh my gosh, if only I could have pancakes one day. But
Oh.
it was a very crazy hot day, and I saw something on the ground that completely stopped me on my tracks. It was a magazine written in English that I call Eclipse because I didn't know how to pronounce it. And in it was a picture of this loving family unit. It was a mom with her kids, and the mom was, it just seemed really loving. The kids were just so joyful. They were reading a book, which was my dream, to kind of have my own book. And they actually had toys. They were wearing jeans, all of these dreams that I had, wearing jeans, wearing sneakers, having a book, having real toys, all of the things. And so with that, I decided, you know what, like, I really want this. This would be nice. How can I do it? How can I get that? If those kids can have it, why can't I? And so my brother and I decided that it was because they knew this language. And so at that age, at 7 years old, I decided to learn English. And I
Wow.
started this cardboard puppet theater because we didn't have electricity at night.
So it
Um,
was a, sorry for interrupting, it was a magazine,
yeah, it was the Highlights magazine or Eclipse.
highlights.
Yeah.
I remember that back from like the dentist office and stuff. I always used to play with
Yeah.
that.
Well, somebody threw it in the trash, and actually, I joke around that I had a subscription because, like, I would look for it in the landfill until I found it every month.
Wow.
I had my little landfill subscription to the Highlights
I
magazine.
used to love that magazine as a child as well.
Oh, I love it. It's a big part of my history, the eclipse. and so and so I decided, I love to tell stories. I love what I see on this magazine, and I'm going to just take advantage that there's no electricity, light a candle, you know, do some cardboard figures and tell stories. So I would charge the kids a bunch of cents, and they would come to my theater. And that was my first entrepreneurial job. It was my first endeavor. And for 4 years, I did that. And I did other things like tutoring my classmates. And, I was hustling. Let's just put it that way. And by the time I was 11, I had enough money to enroll myself in English classes because that's not something that they teach you at the public school in the community where I grew up. But there were centers where you could study English. And so by the time I was 15, I was teaching at that center. And I graduated from school, from high school at 15 as well. So basically, that was my entrance into the entrepreneurial world. It was through, just really seeing that vision. And that is what I want everyone to kind of, just pause and write it down. What is the vision that you have for your life? Because one thing that I have realized is that that vision was not possible for me as a child. Obviously, I wasn't just transformed by reading that magazine and my childhood changed and the abuse stopped and the poverty went away. But that was the starting point. Believing in that vision helped me create that so that I can see it today around me and my children. So, there we are again. Yeah. So this is this is my highest core value. It's gratitude that there is the possibility to manifest what we want, but also gratitude that we are those agents, that we are the people that are called to listen to that vision and to see it manifested. So we are not just dormant. And if I grew up in a slum where we didn't have running water or electricity, and we didn't have toilets, and we didn't have refrigerators or air conditioner, or food on the table, then if I can write a book or several books and help people write books, then you can do whatever you want. You can do it. It is possible. Is that our mantra, right? It's
It is
possible.
possible.
Yeah. Well, this is the Highlights magazine. And one thing that we can take away from that is that everything is created twice. I saw this picture on the magazine. I transplanted and etched that picture in my mind. And then I see it around me. My kids actually, live the highlights life, is what I call it. And I've been able to take them to Disney. Like I said before, like all of the dreams that I had as a little girl, they have been able to, in their own way and in their own individual, with their own individual print, they have been able to do it. So what is it that you want to create? Write it down. What is your goal for this book? When you are given a vision, you have permission to pursue it. You don't need anyone's permission. And if you think you do, I'm giving you permission right now. Do you give him permission too, Chelsea?
I give you permission.
Yes, yes, yes. So you have permission now. This is when I actually was a Disney princess for a day with Disney Princess. I was Mulan, and I was able to tell this story that I just told you to a lot of women entrepreneurs, and Disney was my sponsor. But this is what is possible when you believe in your vision. So let's get to the writing. Um, Before you write, you have to get clear on three things. Number one, your person. Number two, your promise. And number three, your purpose. I like the letter P a lot. So you're going to see that a lot on this presentation. But basically, you got to know who you're writing for. The book, sometimes we think like, oh, I want to write about my story. I want to write about my experiences. I want to share what I know. But at the end of the day, if you are not centered on that one person whose life is going to change, the book is going to be just kind of boring or not engaging or not sell a lot of copies. So from the get-go, before we even start, we got to get clear, who is this person? What is the difference that I want to make in their life? And what are they going to get out of it, which is the promise. Whenever you write a book, in your title, in your um, environment, the, the book cover, whatever it is, you want to make sure that the promise is clear. And that's something that you and I have talked about before. I want to give a preview of the book right on the cover, right on the title and the subtitle. The next thing is, what is your purpose? So with this book, are you trying to start a movement? Are you trying to get speaking engagements? Are you trying to get people to change their diet? You know, whatever it is that you want for you, that's going to give you fulfillment, you gotta get clear on that and just focus on this during the entire writing journey, because at the end of the day you need a focused book that is going to be able to deliver on those goals. I call them bold goals that you want, but you gotta do that intentionally from the beginning. So this is a cool, take a screenshot, because this is a cool thing that I like to do whenever you are deciding who your person is. You want to get clear on what I call your guerrilla positioning statement. It says, I help, and you tell who you help. For example, I help moms, right? Do what do you help them do? Run profitable business, etc., right? So that, and then you want to focus on this part, which is the transformation or the promise. And once you get clear on that, you're going to know the tone of your book, and you're going to know the contents of the book, because it's all about from taking them from where they are to where they want to be. So basically you are writing with a purpose, for an audience. Those are the two things that you need to know when you are writing anything. Is that clear? Does that help?
Yes. And so when you say I help, um, the who and then do is the
The
promise, or
the action.
do is the action.
Yeah.
So that is the promise.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And this is not part of the presentation, but maybe it would be helpful to know that people buy really for probably four purposes: to make money, to save money, to live better, and to get rid of pain. So that kind of helps you, figure out what the promise should be in your particular area of expertise.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. And then the keys to success to actually get through with the writing of the book is, number one, guidance. You want to make sure that you know what you're doing. You have some guidance in your writing process. You need accountability, and you need intentionality. What I mean by intentionality is that every single paragraph you write has to have the intention that is linked to back to the beginning, right? Link to that person, is going to be helpful to that person, is going to deliver on that promise, and it's going to allow you to fulfill your purpose. So for example, if your book is being created so that you get more speaking engagements, you gotta be the author, but you are being an author who is a speaker. So you're going to talk about your speaking throughout your book. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that you can position yourself, because if you just say at the end of your book, oh, and by the way, you can hire me to speak, it's a little too late. And maybe a lot of people don't even
Right.
get to the end. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you want to throughout weave all of those things, make a difference, and do the things that need to happen, and prepare your website, prepare your funnels, prepare your social media platforms, prepare yourself to make sure that when the book is published, it's serving that purpose. um, Another big thing before you write is to be willing to be authentic. So this is when I was telling that we're going to talk about Disney and the brands, because one of the things that has set me apart from influencers, I've been in the space for 15 years, um, which happened when I was really about to just lose my all my hope. as a single mom with two toddlers, um, just homeless and really clueless as to how to move forward because I didn't have anyone to support me in that moment. And that's why I created the Positive Mom and decided that when you're positive, you're powerful, because that faith that I could do it helped me circle back and say, you know what, I have the power to change my circumstances. And it was a full circle moment for me, because I remember, this is why I learned English. This is why the 7-year-old ELAYNA picked up that magazine, decided to become an entrepreneur. So if I did that, I just need to grasp that vision. And that's when I understood, this vision was not for me. This vision was for my future life with my daughters. And so believing in that vision and also being willing to be authentic has allowed me to do all of these things. But we gotta be willing to share our pain, to share our purpose, and share our personality. We're not writing this book like, oh yes, the three main points, it has to be real. It has to really get to the core of who you are, and so that it can connect to the hearts of your readers, so that it can click for them. And that requires storytelling. Telling the stories of pain, just like I've been sharing mine, telling them what your purpose is, your dreams, your hopes, your vision, and using your personality to connect those things that you hate about yourself, um, or that you are self-conscious about, are your key selling point. I remember when I became a speaker, Les Brown, who is one of my mentors, he put me on the spot and called me to speak on the stage when I wasn't really ready. But I didn't want to speak because I had an accent. It's gone now, by the way. Just kidding.
But everyone loves your accent.
Well, I didn't know, and now I'm like, it's kind of cute. It makes me who I am. And it reminds me of my roots, and it reminds me of my beginnings, and it's part of who I am. I decided to embrace that. I embrace that I do this a lot, and everything that makes me me may turn off some people that are not my people, and that's great. But it will attract the people who I am called to serve, who I am meant to be in their lives and make a difference and shine my light. So that is a big requirement, because books that don't have storytelling that is powerful and engaging and authentic, don't really sell as much. So if you want to write a bestseller, be willing to be authentic. And this is why I have what is called the monetization formula. Credibility. Everybody is like, okay, I can write a book because I know this subject, or I'm an expert in this. Or maybe visibility. If I am on all the social medias, all of the social networks, I can sell many books. Or, whatever it is, they think that this is the requirement, but it is vulnerability that is the key factor. When you are willing to put yourself out there, that's when profitability comes. So that's why I've been able to partner with so many brands, because the things that I have been kind of self-conscious about, the things that I never thought were valuable about myself, I've been able to monetize it by working with brands that wanted me to partner with them so that I could tell my story, be myself, and they could pay me for it. Is that crazy or what?
You've worked with all these brands.
Yeah, they don't fit. There's I could do like,
Oh my gosh. Can I take a picture of this?
oh, absolutely. Let me see if I can fit it all. No, it doesn't, but
I
maybe.
want to share this.
Absolutely. And there is a
I
lot
can,
more.
when I share your speaker graphic. That's amazing. And they don't all fit.
No, I have way more.
Yeah, I don't even see Disney on here. That is amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and anyone can get sponsored, because the thing is that you give them value by just sharing your story and being vulnerable and authentic, and they can associate that power that you have with their brand and connect with other people. And so be willing, be open. This is possible for you, because again, I lived in a slum and I was a single mom, a homeless single mom. So you can do it too. And that's, just something that is a true testament that everything is possible. But there is
Well,
a, there,
I have a question. Do you
yeah,
like Tabasco sauce?
yes. Yes, absolutely.
Good to know. You love all the brands and use them yourself. That's good to know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, sometimes I don't use them myself. Let me give you an example. So when you search for a partner, you search for, in order to be a successful partnership, an authentic partnership, you search for the values that they represent and the values that you hold dear to your heart. So that's how I make partnerships. For example, I have partnered with formula companies, and I have 4 daughters. So you may think, okay, well, she's fed them formula. And so far I haven't. But I am an advocate of feeding babies, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I am also an advocate of getting along and being respectful and being compassionate and understanding that one person's journey and choice, it doesn't have to be everybody's choice. Does that make sense? So I advocate for, I've worked with a formula company that I think that has that value, that believes in, whether you formula feed or breastfeed, feed that baby, love that baby, nurture that baby, and have a community of moms where you do different things and you still get along. So it doesn't have to be something that I use and love, but it has to be a company that whose values I can stand behind, and that I can communicate my message openly, and that I can endorse because of what it represents, or because of what it does.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Okay, so this is the catch, which is the hard part. But take a screenshot if you're here, because it's a screenshot that I need every day to ground myself, especially when it gets so hard. I've had the hardest couple of, years, with so much going on in my family, personal life. And this is something that I have had to live by every day. Sometimes I have to check it several times a day, because it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but this is what it takes. It takes let go of blaming and take responsibility. Let's let go of complaining, let go of justifying, this is why, and let go of defending, and let go of excuse making. So let's just start and remember that we are powerful, and that it is possible. And that if we have the intention, a powerful intention, like that vision that I saw when I was 7 years old, and the attention, like, going, saving up to make that happen, or writing my first blog post, or writing my first book, doing the things that I can do, that I have the power to do. And then no tension, letting go of the things that we don't have control over. So I don't have control over what other people do, but I have control over my blaming. So all of this is going to be the prep work, and then writing the book is going to be easy. um,
Right.
because when you have the awareness, that's what counts. So do you know where the arrow is on the FedEx logo, Chelsea?
Yes.
Okay, it's right here, right?
Only because I just learned that.
Really?
Well, I mean, maybe it was like a year ago, but yeah, I never noticed it before.
Okay, so the game is awareness. You don't have a lack of time or a lack of money or a lack of, because we find money and time for the things that are we want to do. Right now is a perfect example, because when we are in a situation where it's life or death, or threatening, or hardship, we find a way. You and I, we've been pregnant, right? And all of a sudden we have time for checkups, and we have time for eating all of the things, and we have time for drinking our water, and watching what we eat. We have all of this, and we stopped everything. But the thing is that we need to have the awareness that this is important, that we are important, that our message are important, and the world is waiting for your words. And this is the awareness that you need. You need to know what to do. You need to have a system. So these are the three biggest excuses: I'm not a born writer, I'm not good enough, and I don't have the time to write. So with the first two, I'm not a born writer. um, Nobody's a born writer. My 6 month old cannot write. So that's just a fact. So yeah, I'm not a born writer either. Are you a born writer, Kelsey?
No.
Nope, haven't met one. Okay, so that's not valid. It is the truth. I'm not a born writer. I can still write a book. I'm not good enough. Okay, so what yardstick are we measuring that upon? Because English is my second language, and my blog is in English. My books are in English. I'm speaking to you in English, and all of my presentations, all of those brands that you saw have found my English to be good enough. So let's see, are you good enough? If you believe you are, you are. I'm
Right.
not, I'm not gonna be judgy, but I'm just gonna say something, something kind of funny and cheeky. Paris Hilton is a New York Times best-selling author. I'm just gonna say that. So you know what? Uh, You can too, right?
It is possible.
It's possible. It's possible. So I don't have the time to write. Well, with this thing that I'm gonna share, you're gonna have time to write. So the first thing, you need a coach. Whether you're going to read a book and the book is gonna coach you, or buy a program and the program is going to coach you, or hire an actual coach and that's going to coach you, you need to have guidance along the way. So I'm going to have you read this Sean Encore. He's a positive psychologist, and expert in um, neuroscience. Is that how you say that? Yeah, neuroscience. So this is a quote by him, and I would like you to read it so that and everybody please take a screenshot.
Okay. If you're looking at a hill by yourself, your brain perceives it to be 10 to 20% steeper than if you are looking at the same mountain with a friend who is climbing it with you. If you are more creative when you're around you are more creative when you're around certain people in your life.
Do you think that's true for you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you have someone with you doing it with you, it's so much easier. Yeah.
I believe that too, and that's how it's been my entire life. I mean, I have pictures here of some of my mentors that I've personally studied with and that have, guided me and given me a piece, um, or a step so that I can move forward. We cannot do it alone. And, even if it's, like your sister is your biggest fan, she can help you. But basically, you need someone telling you, being your cheerleader when you are down, and being, celebrating you when you are not. And just that alone, just having the support of the people in your life, or a person that you have designated to help you with a project, can help you tremendously. So that's gonna help you. That's a super hack, if you will. But if you're going to do it on your own, I'm still gonna share some things that you can do. So a lot of people, know that the writing process is really up and down. Sometimes you're on fire, sometimes you are like really stuck and have a block. But basically, there are ways that you can set yourself for success so that you can make yourself right. The first one is setting a deadline, and basically saying, you know what, this is my year. That's why I love, to say, write a bestseller this year. Because basically, if you just let it go in the land of someday, it will never happen. And we don't know how long we are on this earth. And you have expertise and power and experiences and stories that it would be very sad if they died with you. That's what I tell myself. It would be, I want to make sure that what I've been given, and the pain that I've been through, that my story can change other people, and that not just those people around me, but forever. When with a book, you are becoming immortal. I don't remember who said that, but it's like immortality, because you always live on. And I think of James Allen, my most favorite book in the entire world, well, besides the Bible, is is As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. And that was hundreds of years ago, and I still have it, read it every year, has helped me tremendously, read it with my daughters. So your book is something that's going to live on and outlive you. Share your deadline. So if you say, this is the year that I'm going to write a book, declare it. We have social media now, so you can tell everybody, you can tell your family, you can tell. But have people that are going to ask you, so how's that book coming along? So that you have that reminder. It's not pressure, because I don't believe in pressure. Remember, no tension, but a reminder, because sometimes we get caught up in the craziness of life, and we don't know how to get back into the writing groove. The next thing is creating an outline. Do you have a question?
No, ma'am, I'm adjusting my charger.
Okay. Creating an outline. So basically, that's going to be, what are the topics that your person needs? And for me, my person, her name is Mariela. She has 3 children. They're school aged. And she is a single mom. And she is always trying to balance work and family. And she has high hopes for her children, but she doesn't have enough of an income. So she wants to generate revenue, but she also wants to have a life, and she wants to be a positive mom and not always be exhausted and on edge. So that's a little bit about my person. So what are those things that are going to help your person move from where they are to where they want to be in that path, toward the success that they want to achieve, or to move away from the pain where they're at right now, onto that sweet spot where they really see themselves with their vision. And then outline those steps, and that's, start dumping into those steps. So if you have the framework, then it becomes easier to just kind of jump around and not just sit in front of the blank page and be like, oh, I have no idea where to start, or what to do next, because you have that outline. You also can create a structure. So basically, um, when, how, what boundaries you need to set in place. In order for me to write my first book, I had to, come up with a way to go to the park. It was an enclosed park with my daughters, so I could see them. They were, they were playing, but I could write a little bit because it was beautiful, the weather was nice, and there was no danger. So do whatever works for you, and then write daily, even if it's 3 words, literally 3 words. I have written 3 words. um, because we always think about writing a book like this huge event where I sit and I write for an hour a day. I don't have an hour a day right now, okay? And that's okay. So when you have an hour a day, you dedicate an hour a day. But when you have 5 minutes, do 5 minutes. Just make it into a habit. Did I write today? So it's going to allow you. And sometimes you say, okay, I'm gonna sit for 5 minutes, but then the baby sleeps longer, or the kids, haven't knocked on the door, whatever it is. the maybe the appointment that you had was canceled, and then you can write a little longer. So always make it a point to write. And this may sound like very linear, but the thing is that when we went to school, I homeschool my children, so this is not something that that their creative process is very different for them. But the thing is, when we went to school, we were given keywords or a topic to write about, and we were told how many words we need to write. Is that correct? um, and what we needed to prove. And so we were given a set of guidelines, guardrails, and different, um, I would say, parameters on how to write our essay or our paper. Do you
Right.
remember that?
Yes.
And so what happens when we're writing a book, we don't necessarily have a teacher saying, it's due on the 15th, and it's, double space, 200 words.
Right.
Nobody tells us that. This is what I'm looking for. So we are just like kind of stuck, and we just don't know anything because we were trained to be told what to write, how to write it, when to write it, and by when. So that's why a coach helps you, but also you can be your own coach and do these things on the screen to help you out. The main thing is this acronym for focus that I really love. I don't know if I messed up the screen now. Okay. It's called follow one course until successful. That's what focus is. It's just you continue on. One day you can take a step, 2 days you can take 5 steps, but as long as you move forward, you are going to be successful. I coined this phrase, and really is my one of my mantras is progress is success. So I don't have to have things completed, but if I made a little progress, then I feel successful and I celebrate myself. Because that, sometimes as a mom, it's hard. You know that, right? Like things come up, and your world is upside down all of a sudden, and it's just too stressful, and you have to have that grace that as long as you do a little bit at a time, and when you can do those big things, then you do them too. It's not like you're going to set yourself back, but you are going to have that grace and that space to give yourself when things are going crazy.
Right.
So this is how it's going to be easy for you to write this book. You're going to use questions. So when I ask someone a question, they immediately have an answer. But if I ask them to speak about some kind of topic or dissertation, sometimes, if they're like me, they're going to go to town speaking because I talk a lot. You can't tell by this presentation, right? I'm being so shy. but some people are going to just like sweat, like, oh, I need to like talk about this, I need to write about this. It's just like this intimidating, threatening, just just overwhelming thing to our nervous system, that we have to come up with all of this information on the spot. Or am I saying too much, or am I not saying enough? But when you answer a question, and it's a question that you care about, because you are solving a problem to for a person that you care about, then it becomes so easy. So for example, Mariela, my person, which is an imaginary person. Okay. So yeah, I talk to imaginary people. So when I think about my person and I say, like, what would bother Mariela, like if she woke up in the middle of the night just worried about something, and maybe she's saying, how am I gonna find time to write the book? That could be, right? That could be one of her questions. Or how am I going to make ends meet? How can I find some kind of business in which I don't have to be a slave to it, but I can still be present for my children and be a provider? Because as a single mom, and sometimes as married moms, and every kind of mom, sometimes we have to choose between being profitable and being present. And so if that's her question, then I can just answer. So I just imagine that this one person asks me that question. How can I do that? And I can say, Mariela, these are three things that you can do. And then I go to town, like I'm talking to a friend that I care about, because really that is my reader. I want to make an impact in my reader. I want my reader to understand that I'm writing this book with so much love and just passion for their success. And so that is different than writing, these three keys to this, and just in a linear pattern. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I love that quote that you said. Sometimes we have to choose between being profitable and present.
Yeah, yeah. And it's hard. I've been
Yeah,
I've been there, and it's devastating.
yeah,
Um,
that happens a lot. Like
yeah,
a lot, multiple times a day. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially when with it's someone that has some kind of, because many I know many people that are not single moms but have a chronic illness that is invisible to the world, or have PTSD. I suffer from that. So whatever that is, it's really crippling, and so you struggle because it's something else that you have to add on to your load. So
Yeah, and not to mention like moms are multitaskers, so it's
yes,
like I'm trying to take care of my baby and feed him while I'm listening in on, like an event that I want to hear.
yeah,
And I don't want that for him, for me always to be doing two things at once. I want him to know that I'm like fully focused on him. So
yeah.
yeah, it's a struggle.
Yeah. One of the things that have, because I felt that mommy guilt so much when I was building my business, or writing my book, or writing on the blog, or going on a collaboration with a brand. You always feel like, oh my gosh, I'm taking on this, and my kids, maybe you miss a birthday or whatever it is, because even though you're an entrepreneur, that doesn't mean that you're going to always be there. And so one of the things that have helped me with that is that my daughters, my oldest, are 17 and 16 now, and they told me, mom, the best thing, this was my oldest that told me this, and oh my gosh, she said the best thing that you've ever done was go for it, and give us that example of a woman who is empowered, who follows her dreams, and who is non-stoppable. And I don't remember the word that she used, not that it was non-negotiable for me to achieve my dreams. And so that was really powerful for me, because all this time when I was just feeling guilty, feeling like I failed, they were looking, and they have they have so much confidence, and it is because they saw that example. Sometimes we are too hard on ourselves, and it is true that we need to kind of find that sweet spot. sometimes, but sometimes we don't have a choice, and we just have to be intentional of making the best choice with what we're given, because we don't all have equal choices.
Right.
Oh my gosh. So
That's
emotional.
amazing. Is that Alicia? Is Alicia your oldest?
Yeah, Alicia.
Your girls are just so amazing. I mean, I've only met your two older ones. I can't believe you have four girls from age 6 months to 17.
Yes, she's
Wow.
17. It's crazy. Yeah, sometimes people think that they're the moms. Funny. I'm like, nope. But yeah, it
Yes,
could be. So,
right.
when
And they wrote a book of their own, right?
yeah, they
That's
published the book.
amazing.
They had a publisher at 9 and 10, and so the book was published. It took about a year for the whole process to be done, but it was a New York publisher, and they became bestseller. And it was when they were 10 and 11. So
Wow.
yeah, that was really amazing because they were also able to partner with brands to bring their book, which is about self-esteem, to bring it to kids that didn't weren't able to afford it, to bring it to the library. So it's really interesting, how they follow that path in their own way, using their own story.
That's
But
amazing. And at such young ages, too. That's really cool.
exactly. So, if they can write a book, what's the mantra? It's possible for
It is
all of
possible.
us. Because they were sponsored from day one. I mean, they did not, and it wasn't because they were cute. It's because they were motivated, and they believed that it was possible, and they didn't blame or or have a complaint. And it's crazy because someone asked my daughters, they were being interviewed because they are also media personalities, and someone said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And this was Alyssa, and she said, I already am.
Oh.
I already am what I want to be. I don't need to
Oh.
wait to grow up. And so and so what are you waiting for? Because you don't have to be that. You
Mhm.
can do it now, right? You can be
Right.
who you want to be. And this is not kind of like a guilt thing, because I don't believe in motivational guilt, but it is how you show up is everything. It just attracts more goodness. And so when you show up with intention and gratitude and faith that it will happen for you, then it will. It's science, is a law, is a universal law. So
Right.
so as far as publishing, so now we know how to write, and how it's easier to write. You have a framework. You ask questions. You use your voice, and talk to, in a conversational way. And you also use your stories that are vulnerable and impactful, and that are applicable to that person that you're talking to. You have three models to choose from. There's the self-publish route, there's the traditional route, and then there's the hybrid route. The traditional, we're all familiar with it. It's the big publisher that everybody wants to publish with when they start out, the dream about it. That model is going to be, they're going to have rights to the book most of the time. They're going to garner most of the profits, and they're going to have a lot of control on how your book is presented and written. But obviously, you're going to have a lot more distribution of the book. So that's the big plus for traditional. The self-publish is the uh, what people say is the cheap way to do it, but cheap is not free, and cheap, it can cost you a lot. So that's when you just do it yourself and don't get any help, and just try to figure it out here and there, and publish. It is possible, but it is not recommended unless you have that guidance that we talked about, you know, along the way. And then there's the hybrid, in which you have someone that publishes for you, and this person is going to guide you in doing the publishing process with the standards that are needed, but you also become a publisher yourself. And so it's kind of like self-published, but you have most of the distribution and that traditional publishers have. So in this case, you're going to have about 39 markets, 39,000 markets, in terms of bookstores and bookstores, book websites, such as Amazon and of course KDP, Kindle. Um, and it's basically the best of both worlds, and it's what I like to do with the clients that I help. When I coach them, I also offer them, you know, this hybrid publishing service.
And do they own the rights?
Yeah, exactly. So they
They
own the
own the
rights,
rights.
and they also become a small publisher. So they get set up to continue publishing books with the best standards and with the best practices.
Great.
Yeah. There are ways to self-publish successfully, but I think that having the guidance, the extra guidance, is always best. And I'm going to talk a little bit about, you know, how you can self-publish and still have that quality, in case, you know, you are just resistant to getting that help. I know what that's like, because up until last year, I didn't never ask for help. I mean, never. I sometimes accepted help. Most of the time, I rejected help, and it's something that I'm being more intentional about, is just allowing myself to receive, um, and to let go of things that I want to do myself for some weird reason that I you know, now is beyond me. But I understand that sometimes we just don't receive that help. We want to be all in the process. So I understand that too. I honor it, because I've done a lot of things that way. can you
Right.
can you relate?
Yes, absolutely. Uh, but definitely, I don't hesitate as much as I used to ask for help. And
Yeah.
then I just wanted to clarify that for the hybrid, they do own the rights, and then they do keep the profits. Is that right?
Yes,
They
absolutely.
keep the profits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And you have more of a distribution possibility, you, because the book is, it has more quality, and it has been published with the right practices, and it is obvious to someone who knows, and it is obvious for best-selling campaign purposes, also for book award purposes. These people know whether a book has been self-published, or it has been invested upon. I mean, but like I said, there are other ways, like for example, these decisions that you have to make about a quality subtitle, quality back cover copy, what the trim of your book is, which is the size. So whether it's 6 by 9 or 8.5 by 5.5, and the paper weight, the publishing method. So you want to make sure that you decide that ahead of time, and set a goal. So as you write the book, it is important to also understand that the marketing machine needs to be cranking. So it's not just, okay, I'm going to write all this information and put into this framework and solve this problem. You gotta be intentional. Again, we talked about intentionality, about how you're going to make this book attractive, so that people are going to pick it up from the shelf, or you know, add to cart, because it is going to look professional and promising. It's going to be something that is going to be relevant to them, but also that it's attractive, right? So
Right.
um if you are going to sell yourself to a traditional publisher, you need a book proposal, and you need to know um, that you're going to place, you're going to have that placement of distribution, but they're going to ask you for a platform. So these two are your job right here. To with the proposal, you get the placement with the big publisher, but they're not going to market for you. You need to have a platform where you're going to market that book. With the hybrid, they can help you, they can teach you how to market um, your book so that it becomes a bestseller, but also so that it is profitable. Because there are best-selling ways to be a bestseller where you don't make any money, and that really doesn't help you be profitable. But also, when you don't place value and really target and hone in your market, the people that are going to buy the book may not be the people that you really want to touch. So you're not going to really make an impact and a life changing influence on those people. Um, the When you are self published, some ways to up that quality is to hire a copy editor, to have the front cover designed professionally, to have a formatter. So these are, contractors that you're probably gonna have to invest on. So again, self-publishing isn't free, and sometimes in trying to hire out all these pieces, you're gonna pay more than a hybrid solution. But you can decide what works for you. The interior formatting is really key when it comes to the quality of the book. And the back cover, you want to invest in someone that has marketing expertise, that knows how to sell, how to write sales copy. Because when somebody picks up a book, they're going to look at the cover and they're going to see if it's attractive, relevant, and the title has those benefits that mean that you're going to take them from where they are to where they want to be. But then they're going to go to the back cover and they're going to read what the benefits are, what the book is about. It's gonna have a hook, it's gonna have a little bio, and if it's a hybrid publisher, it's gonna have a barcode. So all of those things, all of those elements, and the placement of those elements is going to help them make the decision whether they want to buy or not. And then you're gonna get some endorsements, so that's going to really amp up your credibility when you have people that have read the book, that are experts in the subject matter, or that people know that can vouch for your book. So when you self-publish, you can do that. Of course, this is also included when you publish with the other two models that are hybrid and traditional. um, when you're marketing your book, positioning means that you are going to put yourself or place yourself in the mind of the reader. So this is done through marketing and through branding. Those are three different things. Branding is creating an image, and marketing is spreading the word, pretty much. And so you're going to think about what your distribution needs to be. For example, you talked about my daughters. They rather went with a big publisher that was going to get them in bookstores, because and that brands were going to invest on, because they wanted to touch kids that don't have purchasing power, because they don't buy themselves. Their parents are not focused on buying them books on self-esteem, and also they wouldn't seek that book either, because they are impoverished or marginalized, or in situations that are abusive and unfortunate. So you need to think about that. With digital media, you want to make sure that you're creating social platform presence, that you're investing on PR, on press releases, on different visibility ways to increase your visibility in the media. You want to do a best-selling campaign, which means that you're going to uh, gather a lot of people that are going to support you, again, asking for help, guidance, accountability, coaching. And there's a theme here. You can't do it alone. And or maybe you could, but why? Why would you do it? And
Right.
and traditional media, which is, radio, TV, you can do all of this yourself. I have done it. But you could, if you have the budget for it, you want to invest um, a lot, part of your budget for that in this, for these different things. So I don't know if we have time for the bonus.
Sure, why not?
Okay, okay. So this is a framework. I call it the story framework. And so you told me that you are wanted to give our audience a gift. And so I know that you're very generous. And so I wanted to do a little bonus here. And it's my story framework. It's how to write your story in 1 minute. And basically, you use these prompts to get you flowing so that you know how to kind of play around with different stories. Of course, you're going to add different things to this story, but basically, you start with I was and talk about where you were in that point in time. When I told my story in the beginning, I told you that I was 7 years old living in a slum, right? So, so that's your I was. I found. So I told you that I found a magazine in the landfill behind our shack, right? For some people, maybe they didn't find a magazine. Maybe they found a book, a program, a, diet. I don't know. Nothing comes to mind. And so what happened as a result of what you found? When I found the magazine, I became a child entrepreneur and saved up to learn a language that no one spoke in my town. And so now that English, uh, you know, has become the center of my world. And not only was I able to get back on my feet in this country, which was a foreign country to me at that time, I have also used that language to touch people. My blog is now in 134 countries, which is mind blowing to me. Uh,
Wow.
exactly. So now I reach 104, moms in 134 countries. I have traveled around the world spreading the message of being positive and powerful as a mom. I have, provided for my family as a single mom. So you can talk about your now. What is the transformation that happened? And then the call to action is I encourage you to, which is what I'm doing. I'm encouraging you to share your story and to have that vision and follow through. So have that intention, attention, and no tension. So what do you think about that?
That kind of sums it up. Yeah, that makes sense. It kind of comes full circle.
Exactly. And so the gift that I have is that anybody that uses this story framework and writes their story, their 1 minute or 5 minute story, however you want to be. I have people on my live workshops do this in 1 minute and then share it with their partner up with someone else and share it together and then tell it to each other. And it is just the most powerful thing to discover that you can tell your story and write your story in 1 minute. And so if you do
Wow.
that, then you can email me. Yeah, and I will critique it for you for 30 minutes on Zoom. And I don't like that word critique, but I will, I will give you, I will give you feedback and help you hone it down. But it's for the action takers. What do you think?
That's very generous. That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So, we need to set a deadline, of course. So it's
Well,
30.
this is going to air, it's pre-recorded, so this is going to air on either May 7th or 8th.
Okay. So we're going to do 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah. 30 days. But it has to be scheduled within the first week.
Okay.
Awesome. And so I really am very, I would say, very passionate about storytelling because I believe that stories have the power to heal ourselves and to heal others. And especially when you are a mom who is looking to run a business, writing a book is going to open that authority so that you can position yourself as a thought leader in your industry. Even, if you think that a book is going to be so hard, we already busted that myth. um, it's going to challenge you to go deeper within yourself, and so it's going to make you not only a better business owner and entrepreneur, but a better mom and a better human. And I know that because it's happened to me. Like, I just have grown so much, and I that's why I continue, because I know I have a long way to go, and I continue on that path of telling and sharing my story, and it has been very profitable for me. And it can be for you too. Again, it is possible. And in you, my mentor and friend Les Brown, he always says you don't have to get it perfect, you just have to get it started.
Right. Yes, and Angel Tussey, who's also, you're familiar with her,
Yes,
on here. Um, oh my gosh, now I'm done is better than none.
I love it. I love it.
Says that all the time, and I'm like, I don't know, this isn't good enough. Done is better than none, and she is a preaches that.
I love it. And I love her. She is
Yeah.
just such a powerful presence wherever she's at. And that's why, because she's discovered these truths and these principles. It is available to all of us to be that light in other people's lives, and to be an example, and to really radiate that beauty that is within each of us. And that's why I call myself a student of pain, because it is in those painful processes of telling our story, or becoming more authentic, or doing something that we know we're afraid it's going to be judged or not good enough. It is in those moments that we grow most, and that we have uh, the power again to be to inspire other people, to ignite. We can't heal other people, but we can ignite a desire to heal. And to me, that's everything, because I know what it's like to be stuck in a victim mentality, a victimized mentality. And because many of us are true victims of things that happen to us, that were not our fault, but it is our responsibility to change it for ourselves, and to take action so that other people can do that for themselves as well. uh, they can learn from our journeys, which is the most valuable gift that we can give to others.
Yes, and obviously, I think most of us will agree that leaving a legacy and having your children benefit from this and enriching their lives is even more powerful, than just what we can do for our own lives, for our own success. And as far as a book, I mean, it really is your ticket. It really is your foot in the door. Angel spent, I don't know, 10 years on radio shows and, got pitches all the time. But almost like most of them were authors. And if you are an author, you can get guest spots like a lot of places. And, you know, you can either like go out to networking events and meet people, or, you know, and talk with Facebook groups, or you can like get in front of thousands and you can go on these, these appearances basically. But your book is going to be your ticket.
Absolutely. You know, there's something called the minimum, and now I'm gonna get it wrong, but you know, minimum viable product. And basically, your first book doesn't have to be like the book.
Right.
You know? It could just be a quality book. Of course, you know, we don't want to just publish something that is inferior, but you know, I already said the top things that you need to focus on, but it doesn't have to be like this high and mighty book. You can get something started, and then that's going to be a teaching step so that you can write the book if you have that big vision of something that's 300 pages and and well researched and all of that. You know, start where you can start. Don't paralyze yourself thinking about this huge book, because you know, when I wrote my first book, I wrote it so fast, and it was so, you know, like really, it was something that I just wanted to get it done. And it wasn't a book that I'm necessarily selling right now because it was very uh, it was relevant for the times, but it was about social media. I wrote a series about social media and blogging and all of that, and you know, right now it's outdated, but I'm still so proud of that book, and I have it in front of me in my office, because you know, it's something that represents the start of a beautiful journey that you know, opened so many doors for me, and that really uh, helped me understand that I can do it, that it is possible. And that's the first step. Once you do the first one, then you can write another one, and it's just, you know, it just becomes easier.
Absolutely. Yes, and I'm so excited. I mean, I can vouch for your expertise because you really helped me just like elevate my book. Like it was okay, but you came and you made sense of it. You know, actually went through it like line by line. Is like you helped me like rename all the chapters so that they're all related, and put it in the right order so it's not just kind of like all over the place. And that was really, really valuable. I mean, I'm just going to be grateful forever because you took something of mine and you made it so much better so that it wasn't just like about me. It's about like the message and, what it can do for people. And so I know people are going to have questions for you, and they're going to take advantage of that moment that you have with her. It's a lot of money to get an hour with this amazing chick, and she's going to give you 30 minutes for free. So take advantage of that with the I found, and so now. Fill that out, do that exercise, and then how do they contact you when they complete that?
Okay, I think I have let me see if I have my contact here. And it's my name, you know, is
Oh, perfect.
okay right here. So it's ELAYNA at thepositivemom.com, and these are my social channels, and this is my website. So that's how you can get in touch with me, thepositivemom.com.
Okay.
And
And ELAYNA, ELAYNA.
mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
At thepositivemom.com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's your direct email.
Mhm.
Great. Well, thank you so much. This has been like way above and beyond. Very, very good.
Oh, I'm so grateful that it's been helpful. And I'm just really honored that you allowed me to have this space. I really love you and admire you. Your book, it was a privilege to be part of it. It's going to change so many lives, and it's just a work of the heart. So I'm really proud of you.
Thank you so much. And the forward, she wrote my forward. Oh, is so good. I mean, it was just so good. You know, you're just so great with words, and your experience shows. And I got to put that in my book
Yay.
and on the cover, and I just got my cover done.
So
Do you
beautiful.
like my cover?
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, darling.
Bye.